Imagine walking alone through the silent desert at night, chasing a distant light that seems to promise safety. But what if that light wasn't from humans at all? This is the story of how a simple camel delivery turned into a nightmare that defies explanation. What would you do if you greeted a group of people in the dark and they all ignored you, except for a child whose eyes suddenly turned into something completely inhuman? Today, we're sharing a story told by Nafil about a Sudanese man's bone-chilling experience in the Saudi desert. It all started when the man's cousin, who was visiting him and loved camels, asked him a simple question. In your 25 years in Saudi Arabia, what's the strangest thing that's ever happened to you? The Sudanese man took a deep breath and replied, By Allah, about 14 years ago, something truly terrifying and strange happened. He worked transporting camels in a special truck, a dina designed with a winch to lift the heavy animals safely. One day, a man from Al-Nuwairiyah in the eastern province called him. I have a camel I need you to take from Al-Nuwairiyah to Al. He said, Al is a vast, remote desert, but the job was routine. The Sudanese man agreed and decided to take his brother, who had just arrived from Sudan, along to teach him the trade. They met the owner, loaded the camel around p.m., and set off into the night at 10:30, following a rough desert track. But just 30 minutes into their journey, at p.m., the truck sputtered and died. They were stranded in the middle of nowhere. They tried everything to fix it, but nothing worked. He called the camel's owner, who told them, I'm far away, but I'm on my way, God willing. As they waited in the darkness, the Sudanese man spotted a faint, glowing light in the distance, like a campfire. He turned to his brother and said, I'm going to walk over there and ask for help. His brother agreed, and he set off alone into the desert night. He walked and walked, but the strangest thing happened, the more he moved toward the light, the farther away it seemed to get. Still, he was determined. He finally reached the source of the glow, and what he saw sent a shiver down his spine. It was a large traditional Bedouin tent, open at the front. Inside, men and women were mixed together, beating drums and singing loudly, a scene completely out of place and against all local customs. He approached cautiously and called out as, Alaikum, peace be upon you. The drumming and singing continued as if he wasn't there. He raised his voice and repeated the greeting. Still no answer. Finally, an old man turned to him, his face stern. Go. Leave this place. Go, he said harshly. The Sudanese man tried to explain his situation. My truck has broken down, he started, but he couldn't finish his sentence. A small child sitting nearby suddenly turned to face him. The child's eyes were filled with an unnatural rage, and they began to widen, growing larger and larger. In that instant, a violent sandstorm erupted. From where the tent stood, swirling and blasting him directly in the face, pure terror seized him. He turned and ran for his life. As he fled, he could hear a horrifying sound right behind him, the whistling of a sword swinging through the air, getting closer with every step. He finally reached the truck and collapsed to his knees, gasping for air. He scrambled to the cab and found his brother completely frozen, his body stiff and his eyes wide with fear, as if he were possessed. The Sudanese man immediately began reciting verses from the Quran over him. Slowly, his brother began to come back to himself. Without a second thought, both men jumped back into the truck and locked the doors outside. The sandstorm raged, shaking the truck violently, but inside things were even worse. The camel in the back began to thrash and panic, kicking and bucking with such force that it felt like the entire truck was about to flip over. It was reacting to something unseen, something terrifying in the dark. Remembering a practice his grandfather in Sudan had taught him, the Sudanese man grabbed a large water container. He recited, Ayatul Kursi, the verse of the throne, and the Muawwidhat, chapters of protection, over the water. Then, despite the chaos outside, he bravely stepped out of the truck. He began to walk around the vehicle, pouring the blessed water in a circle to create a protective barrier. As he circled the truck, he saw it, a dark, shadowy figure, rushing past them again and again. Each time the figure passed, the camel's terror intensified. He finished pouring the water, jumped back inside, and he and his brother began reciting the Quran as loudly as they could, their voices filling the small cab. They continued praying until around a.m. headlights appeared in the distance. It was the camel's owner. He had finally arrived. The Sudanese man looked at his shaken brother and whispered, "Don't say a word about what happened." The owner towed their broken-down truck all the way to Al. After they unloaded the camel, he generously invited them to his home for dinner and offered them a place to rest for the night. The next morning, feeling safer in the light of day, the Sudanese man decided to tell the owner everything that had happened. He was worried the man wouldn't believe him, that he'd think he was crazy, but the owner listened patiently and nodded. "My brother," he said calmly, "that area is known to be dangerous. Many strange incidents have happened there. That place is inhabited by some of the worst kinds of jinn," he continued. "We have a name for what you saw. We call them Abu Nuwera or Abu Fanis, the father of the little fire. They appear as distant lights to lure travelers off the path and into the desert. Many people have been tricked by these lights and gotten lost. You were lucky to escape with your lives. This terrifying, true encounter serves as a powerful reminder of the unseen world and the mysteries hidden within the vast, empty deserts. So what can we learn from this incredible story? First, it highlights the real dangers of the desert. Unfamiliar, remote areas, especially at night, can be unpredictable. Not everything you see is what it seems, and a healthy dose of caution can be life-saving. That distant light might not be a sign of help. Second, the story shows the immense power of faith. When faced with absolute terror, the brothers turned to the Quran for protection. Reciting Ayatul Kursi and the Muawwidhat gave them the spiritual strength to face an unseen enemy. It's a powerful lesson that in moments of fear, faith can be our strongest shield. And third, it shows the value of staying calm under pressure. Even while terrified, the Sudanese man didn't freeze. He thought clearly enough to recite Quran, protect his brother, and use the knowledge passed down from his grandfather to create a barrier. His ability to act rationally in the middle of a supernatural crisis is a lesson for us all. What would you have done in his place? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this story as fascinating and chilling as we did, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more real stories filled with mystery, lessons, and inspiration. Your support means the world to us and helps us continue sharing these unforgettable accounts. Thanks for watching.